Welcome to Called to Homeschool with your host, Meg Thomas. I am a mother of 7 with 5 homeschool graduates. Each week, we'll talk about real life homeschool, mindset shifts, and practical tools you can use in your home. Because homeschooling isn't just about school, it's about restoring the family. Hello, welcome back to Called to Homeschool. Always excited to be here. This is always an episode that people really enjoy as I dive into what our homeschool schedule is going to look like for this coming school year. But before I dive into it, I wanted to let you know that my homeschool boot camp is 20 off through the end of August. Just use the code HAPPY. If homeschooling is feeling overwhelming, maybe you're feeling lost, it's lots of times it's because you're trying to build everything at once. In the boot camp, I'll help you focus on things that create strong foundations so homeschooling gets to feel simpler, more peaceful, and much more enjoyable. You do not need a perfect curriculum, so you're welcome. What you need a lot of times is a clear vision, the right priorities, and if this sounds like it's something you need, go to coachmegthomas.com and use the code HAPPY to save 20% off. Also in there, I have all my printables are all available too. So 30 days to ease into homeschooling is in the boot camp. I made a really awesome template of a quiz to find your homeschool style. And then once you have your homeschool style, then I have a little form you can use that to plug that in to create a really simple homeschool plan for you. So all of that is in there. You'll get all the videos, and anytime I add new videos, guess what? You get access to them. So anyways, you get lifetime access to it, no membership, such a great option. Okay, so we are diving into my lesson plans. My schedule for this coming year. And a lot of times I write my whole podcast out, and I'm not going to today. I'm winging it. So enjoy this. So I'm really excited about this. So it's been funny. I try to be very prayerful with our homeschool and what I think would serve my boys. What do I think they need? And so a lot of you know that last year I really wanted to do a deep dive of England. And we did our huge deep dive, and then we went to England, and it was amazing. So we did England, and then we ran over to Ireland. And so we just did a quick study of Ireland for a month, but still really amazing. And so it just has been on my mind a lot lately. And I think I was even inspired by some of the clients using classical conversations, or my daughter's friend who was really studying about Greece. So anyways, as I was being prayerful, I was like, we should do the Roman Empire. That sounds amazing. And then I was like, well, I feel like you can't understand the Roman Empire if you don't understand the Greek Empire. And you need to understand that. And then it was funny because then I was like, but actually you also need to understand the Egyptians. So this summer, we have been doing just surfacey stuff with the Egyptians. My 15-year-old, so we did Egypt stuff years ago when he was younger. And so he's just kind of there with us as we are studying some stuff with my 9-year-old. And but he's not reading any books with it. But with my 9-year-old, we've had a ton of fun this summer as we have done an Egyptian timeline, looking up fun facts about Egypt. He's reading a book about Cleopatra, which is interesting if you look at the whole scope of Egypt, how late she is in the game and where she even comes from. It's all just fascinating stuff. So they just all start blending together. So this summer we actually have been doing a lot of Egypt with our lighter schedule. So then I thought, so I'm crossing my fingers and saying a prayer that we can really go to Greece and Italy for our next school year. But either way, we're going to study all these things and hopefully we can make that a reality. So we decided for our school year to do a deep dive of Greece and the Roman Empire. So I'm going to go through basically my homeschool, what I was creating, and then just kind of tell you what we'll be doing. And hopefully this gives you some ideas of what you can do with your homeschool. So as I was doing this, I went camping a couple weeks ago with my homeschool co-op. And there were 4 of us there, and I think all of us have a 15-year-old boy, 15 or 16-year-old boy. So one of them asked, what are you doing for homeschool? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I've been creating the most amazing thing for my 15-year-old. I'm just thrilled about this. This is going to be so amazing. And then what we will do for his junior, because he would be 10th grade. And then what we'll do for his junior and senior year is we are going to utilize BYU concurrent enrollment. And then he can get a bunch of college credits through that. And then he can just apply as a junior for somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. My one girlfriend went on to tell me with her experience. So to get into BYU, you can just get in. Anybody can do it. You have to be at least 16, I believe, and you have to be a junior in high school. What she found, now I haven't done this from personal experience, so this is what my girlfriend found because she did it with her daughter, is that because you are doing these college classes as a high school student, that you still have to apply for college as a freshman. So your credits will come with you to a college, but because you are applying as a freshman, you still need to take an ACT. Back east, I know a lot of times it's SAT, but in the West, it's more about the ACT. So then I was like, wait, this changes everything, because I thought like we were skipping that. I've skipped the ACT with almost all my kids, just like the path we were able to create. So I went to my 15-year-old and I said, okay, here are some options, because then another one of the boys they also use Open Ed, and they did college through Southern New Hampshire University. And one of these darling boys got their bachelor's degree in a year, and the other one took a couple years, but like they got it done and it was paid for through Open Ed. And now these boys have graduated, and well, the one is 18 and he's leaving. The other one is 16, and now his homeschool, like he still has a bachelor degree. And his homeschool is getting to be like whatever they want to do and all these amazing things. So I got to talk about him with his experience. So anyways, we're on this camping trip and I was like, wait, everything just might have changed. So then I met with my 15-year-old and I was like, here's what I just found out. So I presented it to him and said, here are some options. And when I'm doing this with my kids, I do like to say, is there something you want? Like if there is a certain college you want, then we need to work back. And even that is not guaranteed, but it at least gives us a framework. So do you want college? Do you want a trade school? Do you want like whatever, entrepreneurial stuff, whatever it is you want? And so when I was asking, and then I also was wondering about sports of like, hey, do you think you like could be good enough that you could go D1 or to a JUCO, like a NCAA stuff that I need to worry about and whatnot. So anyways, after talking with him, and then letting him know like we could still do what I had planned this year and then start BYUI in the next year, but you would need to take the ACT afterwards, or we could do some other route. So anyways, what he has decided to do is that he is now enrolled in, we always used Open Ed, but he's enrolled in Southern New Hampshire University and he will be starting college in a couple of weeks. So, but I was so excited for this and I said, would you still read some of the books that I had prepared for you? So I'm still going to share some of those with you. It'll obviously be a much lighter schedule because I won't be doing his math or language arts or writing, because that will all now be part of his college classes. But the history, I really, really wanted to do that. And then, so I'll share with you what like his schedule will be. So when I'm preparing this stuff, sometimes I look at a whole year as there's something. So like going on the trip just really helps my brain to sift through all the stuff out there. And somebody's asked me before, like, Meg, are you like reinventing the wheel? And I am, but I've also been homeschooling for a long time. So if I were just like, I don't know what to do and where to start, with my big kids, we did Story of the World. And we did all 4 years of that. And I really enjoyed it. I've since switched to more living books like Charlotte Mason type stuff, creating my own whatnot. But like in the beginning, I did like stuff that just told me what to do. And Story of the World was something that I actually really enjoyed for history. And my 15-year-old, part of his school last year was to just reread some of those books, just to have him to be knowledgeable with basic parts of history and whatnot. So anyways, I'm going to just go through. So I look through like what my year is, and then I kind of break it down. So what I decided to do is we will do this first semester is going to be about Greece, and our second semester is going to be about Rome. And then I break it down per month. So friends, I cannot tell you how much AI has made my job with the homeschooling 1,000 times easier, of just pointing me in directions. Who are some famous Greeks in this time period? What is the time period of this? Create me a timeline. Whatever it is. Now, AI can make mistakes. So you may need to check some facts. Sometimes the books don't exist that they recommend and whatnot, but it sifts through a lot of information and makes things really easy for me. So I went to AI like, hey, we're going to learn about Greece, ancient Greece. And so like, what is the time period? So it would give me the time period, like we're going to do it in 4 months. What are some of the main highlights that I would want to hit? And then like bringing in science with that. Anyway, so that's kind of what I do with it, because our group subjects are life skills. What I'm trying to think. So life skills, what can I think? Arts, science, and history. Okay. So that's kind of what I've done. And then this just kind of helps me what to do. So I'm just starting to fill in the gaps now. So for arts, like I said, like what are some famous pieces of art and Greek history? And so it could be architecture, it could be art. So I had AI help me. And then I'm a big fan of the DK eyewitness books. They have had some really fun ones. And that's one of the ones I bought for Egypt this last year, this summer. And that's been crazy how fun, how much my 9-year-old really just enjoys looking through that, asks a ton of questions. And then when we got to go to England, we went to I think it was the British Museum, and they had the Rosetta Stone there. They had a ton of the Egyptians there. They have a ton of stuff. So I was like, hey, you've seen this and you've seen this. And so it's made it really fun. And then it just sparks a lot of curiosity. So for the art, I just had AI give me some ideas of famous works of art. And then I'm utilizing a DK eyewitness book. If there's a book specific about a building, I will just be using that. So each week we do different art. So I just kind of can you see how my brain works? Of I just start going in and in and in. And then so for September, I have to pull up my notes here. There we go. So for September, we're going to do the Parthenon, and we're going to read Aesop's Fables. The next week we'll do hopefully I'm going to say these right, Discobolus, and the Fables on the Venus de Milo, the Winged Victory of oh my goodness, it's the goddess of Nike that they made the statue, the Winged Victory of Samothrace. I don't know if I'm saying that right. When I teach this to my kid, I will do a YouTube video of how to pronounce it correctly. So then I just go in, and so I've taken it as a semester. I'm going to do Greeks, and then I have AI hey, how many weeks will there be? Okay, I want 10 different ideas then of things we could do, and then now I just go in and I plug it in. So here we're going to do the Parthenon. I have a book I found on Amazon, and then we'll do an activity where we'll try to build it with pretzels and marshmallows and graham crackers. I have an Aesop's Fable book already, and then a YouTube video about the about the Parthenon. The next one, in the DK Eyewitness book, it has that statue in it, the Discobolus, and then we'll make a tinfoil statue and try to copy it. Making a clay statue with the Nike Greek goddess, we're going to make wings, coffee filter wings, right? So I just then create an activity and something to do with it. For science, I actually have a Crunch Labs subscription, and I've really, really enjoyed that. And so at the beginning of the month, we're going to do that because I think they're super fun, and my 9-year-old absolutely loves it. So we watch his YouTube video, Mark Rober's YouTube video, and then we put it together, and we just have a lot of fun. But for the rest so one of the things I did as I was looking at Greek is I looked up who are main scientists and different things and different people to study. So Archimedes was the first one I came. So my 9-year-old will read Archimedes and the Door to Science. And I am just slowly turning over more books to him. And so if it takes him a whole semester to read it, great. And I know he'll just eventually get a little bit faster, and then I'll be giving him books each month. But then the next one, and I feel bad that I may not be pronouncing these correctly, Hippocrates, they're the Hippocratic Oath. And so different things with medicine would be a month. We could do stuff with Euclid, Aristotle. So just some different ideas that I have and then I will go in and say, okay, if we're going to do Archimedes in September. So the first week I already know is going to be Crunch Labs. And then the next week we're going to do the screw and the lever. And so we'll have an activity that goes with the screw and the lever and find a fun YouTube video. Then we're going to make catapults the next week. And once again, another fun YouTube video of Poli. And so making different things with the science, he's going to be reading about Archimedes and just really doing a lot of fun stuff with science. And then when I do, when I break it down with AI of hey, I'm going to be teaching it into four months, how would you break it down? It helps me so much. So for September, we're going to do, the first week is going to be about the Minoans. And I found a YouTube video of the Palace of, once again, about pronunciations, Palace of Knossos. I think you say KN noise, not Knossos. I don't know. And then about the Minoans. And so ancient world map, an atlas that we're going to do some activities with. We're also going to do, because my 9-year-old is obsessed with maps anyway. And so learning a song about the countries in Europe and putting together European puzzles. So even though it's modern day, just getting him familiar with that. And then we'll do King Minos and do the legend of Theseus and the Minotaur, learning about Crete, this is killing me, especially when my husband can speak Greek. I should have just had him come on here. So anyways, he helps me a lot with the pronunciations when we get to it. And I utilize a lot of things to look up of how to pronounce these correctly, and end with the Trojan War and Odysseus. So I would just tell him the story. We are going to build a horse, right? Add it to our timeline. We do that every week with history. And then for him, for life skills, and this is my 9-year-old I've been talking about, Because like these are the subjects I always did as a group, but because now it's just him, like I still call it my group subject, even though it's just with him. But so he gets a lot of one-on-one time with this. So instead of a full life skill as far as like learning to do laundry or cook, because those are already things that we're working on in our family, we're doing handicraft stuff. Like, so Charlotte Mason and I deal with handicraft. And so we're going to do like soap carving and leather work and hand stitching and making paracord bracelets. So just really fun things like that. And I just go through a couple months in advance. So like I've already finished September, what the whole schedule looks like. With October, I have a lot of the ideas already plugged in there, what I want to do. And like I just do that and get the whole semester planned out, get all my books, make sure I've ordered everything a few weeks before the month ends. So that's what we do with our group activities. Now, my 15-year-old is welcome to join us, but he will also have a full schedule. And so he's doing the college classes, but then he is doing some books on his own as well. So like we just changed his schedule up today of writing it all, of finalizing things. So a lot of his bulk will be college through Southern New Hampshire University. And then for history, I have this great book from the Well-Educated Heart, and it was literally called Greek and Roman History. And so I've been pre-reading it all summer, and I thought, oh, I actually really enjoy this. And I'm not great with the pronunciation of names. A lot of times they'll break them out phonetically, but the stories are great. And it's been fun as like we've been studying Egypt, how many things of crisscrossing. And I just love when I make all those connections through history. That makes me so excited. He'll read a book called Famous Men of Greece, of just really getting to know them and understanding them. He actually read the Odyssey this summer, and so he was familiar with that one. One of the books I was going to have him read are some Greek tragedies by Sophocles, but because his school will be already intense, I will not have him read that unless he's like dying to read that. And then I have for just a religious book of an inspiring story that has nothing to do with Greek. He likes stories, so he will be reading Fire of the Covenant. And that is a story about Mormon pioneers and some struggles that they went through, but told in story format. And he really likes that. So and then also, this is my first time ever for any of my children. He is registered for a class at the local high school. So I have never done this before, and it was super weird for me, but he loves sports. And so last year he was able to do tackle football, and they did not require him to be registered with the school because it's a completely after school activity. And so that was just fine. They do have a weightlifting class, but his brother owns a gym. And so they said, oh, if he's weightlifting there, then that totally works. And so I've never had to do this. I've had kids take band at the school, but because it was a before school class, they didn't have to be registered. So basketball, you do have to be registered for the school because it happens during the school day. And they said the reason they do that is because they have to miss that class so often for games that they found it's just easier to have them be there at the school and have it actually be in a class. So that was really weird for me. Luckily, I went to the office and at our local high school, and I tried to see if he had to do it or if there's any way around it. But because of like their rules and like school hours, he wouldn't be allowed to be on the campus. So we did end up registering him, but they made it really easy, which was nice. They actually had a form that like homeschoolers who want to do athletics, and I just had to sign a form. And then the counselor ended up being really, really sweet to me because I said, let's pretend I'm stupid and I've never done this before. How would I register him for a class? And she goes, I'll just do it for you. So she registered me for the basketball class. And so we will have 8A, B days. I don't know if they do that outside of Utah, but like you have an A day, a B day. So like your A day would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 week. And the next week could be Tuesday, Thursday. So not super excited about that, but he will get his license this year and then he can drive himself to and from for that. But he really wanted to be involved in school. So, I mean, in basketball. And he wanted more than just like a city rec league. He wanted a more competitive league. So anyways, he will be doing that, his college, and then reading the 3 different books. He also will be working and he does seminary twice a week. We found a homeschool seminary in Utah, which is super awesome because it's at a great time. And then he has our co-op that we do on Fridays. So he has a really full, awesome schedule. So for my 9-year-old, we have stuff we do together, and then he will also be doing stuff on his own. So together, we will do subject of the day, and I would check his work from the day before. So when I do my Minute with Mom, that is where I'm checking their work from the day before. So all the things that he does on his own, he does them on Monday, I check it on Tuesday, right? And then on Wednesday, I'm checking Tuesday's work. So like, it's the system we've always done, and we love it. I forgot to add with my 15-year-old that he will also be doing Greek Duolingo, and that's just more for fun. And I said, just do like the travel, like you can do like, what am I going there for? And you can do a travel one so you can learn some phrases like that. But I thought that'd be fun. So with my 9-year-old, we will be doing the subject of the day, and I will check his work. And then he reads his scriptures to me. It still has some big words, and so we found it works best if he just reads aloud to me. Then he will be doing Greek Duolingo as well. And he does not have any phone or tablet or whatnot, so we'll just do it together. So he can use my phone, and I can help him with whatever he needs with that. He is also going to be starting Fix It Grammar this year. He has been doing, we did the Well-Trained Mind for the language arts, and we were doing 1st and 2nd grade. And so even though he'd be going into 4th grade, I just go nice and slow and at their level, and I feel good about that. So Fix It Grammar will just be starting at level 1, and wherever that puts him, fantastic. He really likes Life of Fred for math, so he does his own math books. He does the Kuman workbooks, and then we read Life of Fred together, and he really likes that. Writing, I have been looking into a bunch of different ideas with writing, and I have decided on doing, if I can find it, it is, I think I know where it is. I think it is called Rhetoric, and I can't find where I put it in my notes. Oh, there it is. It's from Classical Academic Press, and especially, so Writing and Rhetoric Book 1 Fable Program. And I like this because some of these programs, like for writing and whatnot, are a couple $100, and I don't know, I don't want to spend that kind of money on it. And so this one is $50. And so I thought it didn't feel like a terrible investment and whatnot. And I think he will enjoy this style. So this is my first time doing that. And so we will start doing it together. If Fix It Grammar, he can start doing it on his own, I will transition him over to that. But in the beginning, I plan on doing it with him, and same with the writing. And then we're going to be bringing back the memorization box. And I want to say it's from Simply Charlotte Mason that they have an idea where you have a box and like basically a recipe box, and you have different poems. So you have a poem that you do every day, and then you have the next one that is like on odd or even days, and then you have one that's on the day of the week, and then one's the day of the month, right? So if today is, let me see when this episode is coming out, the 5th, you would do whatever you have for the 5th, and it's an odd day, so you would read like another poem that's an odd day. It'd be a Wednesday, so the poem that goes on a Wednesday, and then it's the 5th, so the one for that. And so you're like really memorizing all these things. And as you get like your new poem memorized, then you just start scooting them back, right? So like once we memorize this daily one, we'll then put one into the odd even ones. And then I memorize a new one and we scoot everything back. So it's just this method to memorize more. And then on his own, he is still reading Imagination Station's books. He really likes those. Those are fun math books. He does Kuman math books on his own. He does a couple of those books. He's going to be reading Greek mythology on his own. He's going to be reading Black Ships Before Troy on his own, Science, Archimedes, and the Door to Science. And then he does Handwriting Without Tears on his own, Explode the Code on his own. And then I put a bonus book. So just in case one of our weeks for our group subject, maybe I found a really fun book that's like a 30-page picture book, I may add that to his bonus book. So like go big picture first and then just go in. And that's what I do with all of my stuff. So like every month I just like kind of prepare ahead of time what it is I want to do. And then I've already looked at October and like, hey, let's make duct tape something that'll be fun. Let's do whittling. We'll make a spear because we've been talking about Greece. Does that go with like also the time of Sparta? Yes, we'll be talking about Sparta in October. So I thought it'd be fun to do a spear. Crunch labs, right? Just so many fun things, and just really trusting yourself and what it is you want to create. But just don't be like afraid to utilize prayer of what does my kid need? Is there anything my kid really needs? Is there anything my kid doesn't need? It was even nervous about with my 9-year-old. Like it's going to be him and me a lot, and it's very new to me. And so I was very prayerful of like, oh, do I need to put him in some extra classes or whatnot? And as I prayed about it, it was like, he's fine. He's happy. And so he goes to a homeschool PE that is here in Utah twice a week. And so he loves that. And then we have our co-op on Fridays. And then in the afternoons, he can play with friends. And if we have some homeschool friends, right, we can always set something else up in the daytime. But like, he's happy. So I love praying about it. I'm seeing like what actually they need. One year, for my 15-year-old. So I don't remember when it was, maybe a couple years ago. But as I was praying, it was like he needs male heroes, some books of like male heroes. And so we did that year there's a Christian Heroes series that I really like. And so every month he was reading about a new male hero, and it was really awesome. So that is what we are currently doing. So we will do Greece this whole first of the semester. Rome history the whole next semester. I just pull our science and art from those countries and make it really fun. And then knock on wood that we can go and visit those places, trying to make that happen. And I know if we can't do it this next year, I know eventually we will get there and the boys will have an amazing time. So I hope that helped you with your schedule. Just a reminder again about the homeschool boot camp. I have so much stuff in there about help to create your own homeschool schedule. Even the 30 days to ease into homeschool workbook is in there. So use the code HAPPY at www.coachmegthomas.com and you can go and have access to all that forever. Okay, friends, have an amazing day and I will talk to you next time. Struggling in your homeschool? You don't have to. Check out the homeschool boot camp at coachmegthomas.com. Thanks so much for listening to Call to Homeschool. If today's episode was helpful, the best way you can support the show is by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more homeschool moms find this work, and I appreciate it so much.